All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Definitely. Always ready to dive in.
Today, we're looking at something pretty crucial. It's the International AI Safety Report 2025. And I'm really glad you shared this with me. This is, I've had a lot of people asking me about it, and it's full of these insights from these AI experts. You know, you've got policymakers from around the world.
It's quite the assembly.
It really is. And they're tackling this, the potential benefits and the risks of AI as it just keeps getting more and more powerful. You know, it seems like we're kind of at this tipping point, and this report's like our roadmap.
A roadmap for uncharted territory, right. And things are changing so rapidly. I think one of the things that really struck me was this sheer scale of computational power we're talking about.
Yeah.
Some of these models, they project, are going to be trained using 10,000 times more compute by 2030 than the most powerful models we have right now.
10,000 times. That's just...
It's hard to even imagine.
I can't even wrap my head around that. I mean, we're already seeing AI doing some pretty wild things, but with that kind of power behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what's possible? And you're right, this report, it digs into some really fascinating stuff. AI and scientific discoveries. The potential for cybersecurity, both, the good and the bad. Ultra-realistic content creation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they even touch on AI's potential role in things like bioweapon design.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, it makes you think, are we really ready for this?
It does raise those questions.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this report is so important. It's a real call to action to start thinking seriously about the implications of this technology before things maybe get a little too far ahead of us.
Yeah. Okay. So before we, get too deep into the weeds here, I think it's important to take a step back and make sure we're all on the same page. How does AI actually work for those of us who maybe aren't coding geniuses?
Right. Well, the report breaks down the life cycle of an AI into these stages. You've got the pre-training, the fine-tuning, system integration, deployment, and then the model release. And imagine you're learning a new skill, like how to play the piano. First, you have to learn the basics, right? The notes, the chords, the scales. That's like the pre-training stage for AI.
Okay.
So where the AI is fed massive amounts of data so it can learn those fundamental patterns and relationships.
Right, like boot camp for AI.
Exactly.
But this boot camp comes with a pretty hefty price tag.
It does.
I mean, the report mentions that some of these models by 2027 could rack up over $1 billion just in pre-training compute costs.
It's incredible.
That's more than some countries' entire GDP.
Yeah.
So you start to think, well, if the barrier to entry is that high, who's really going to be in control of this technology?
That is a crucial question, and the report definitely brings that to the forefront. I mean, this level of investment, it suggests that AI development could end up being concentrated in the hands of just a few, whether those are governments or powerful corporations, and that has big implications for everything from economic power to global security. It really does.
Yeah. Okay. So the AI goes through this intense training process. It's learning, it's growing, it's getting ready to, be unleashed on the world. But how do we make sure it's actually doing what we want it to do?
Well, that's where the fine tuning comes in. So think of it like refining your piano skills, right? You've got the basics down, but now you need to practice specific pieces. You need to get feedback from a teacher, and you need to hone your technique. And for AI, this means giving it more specialized training to perform those specific tasks. So that could be writing a marketing copy or diagnosing a disease.
So it's like taking that raw AI talent and then kind of shaping it into something that's actually useful in the real world.
Yeah.
And once it's fine-tuned, then it's ready to go out into the wild. But how does it actually perform once it's out there? The report mentions this concept of inference. What exactly is that?
So inference is how the AI applies what it's learned to new situations. So it's like, imagine you're taking a test after you studied, right?
Yeah.
You're presented with new information, and you have to use what you know to come up with the right answer. And for AI, this could be anything from generating text based on a prompt to making decisions in a self-driving car, how to navigate. And the report highlights some pretty remarkable advancements in inference techniques, things that are boosting AI performance without having to retrain the entire model, which would be very time-consuming and expensive.
So we're essentially teaching AI how to think on its feet, how to adapt to new information and solve problems without constantly needing to go back to school.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And that brings us to one of the things I find super intriguing, AI agents. These are systems that can operate autonomously, planning, executing tasks, even interacting with their environment. It's like we're giving AI a degree of independence we've never seen before.
It is a new level of autonomy.
Yeah.
And the report really highlights how quickly these agents are evolving. I mean, they're already being used for things like web browsing to scientific research and even cybersecurity.
It's crazy to think how far AI has come in such a short time, like figure 1.3 in the report. It shows how AI's ability to answer these, PhD level science questions has skyrocketed in just a few months. It's almost like AI is on this, this exponential learning curve, and we're just trying to hold on for dear life.
It's an exciting and maybe a little bit scary ride.
Definitely a little bit both.
Yeah, it's incredible to see. And, it's that rapid progress that has so many people just really excited about the potential, right? The potential for AI to solve some of these huge problems we've been facing, some of the world's most challenging problems.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also that same rapid progress that has some people worried. And for good reason, right? Yeah. Just like any powerful tool, AI can be used for good or for bad.
And that's one of the things that I really, that really stood out to me in this report. It doesn't shy away from exploring those potential risks, especially when it falls into the wrong hands.
Right.
I mean, you've got things like deepfakes, right? They can be used to spread misinformation, so discord. And then there's the potential for AI to be used in cyberattacks, which could, cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt economies. The whole thing.
You're really touching on some of the, some of the most pressing concerns that the report highlights. This ability to generate hyper-realistic content, whether it's text, images, video, it has this potential, I think, to really erode trust in our institutions and even undermine that shared sense of reality that we have. And when it comes to cybersecurity, AI is, it's a double-edged sword. It can be used to enhance security, but it can also be used to create these much more sophisticated and devastating attacks.
So it's like we're giving bad actors, this whole new set of tools, and we don't even really know what the implications of that are yet. It's, I don't know, a little unsettling, honestly.
Yeah, a bit unnerving.
Yeah.
And the report really emphasizes the need to develop safeguards, develop strategies to try to mitigate these risks. But it's not just about protecting ourselves from, these malicious actors.
Right.
There are also these broader systemic risks that we need to be considering.
So you're talking about, the potential for AI to make existing inequalities even worse, right?
Exactly.
If only a handful of companies and countries have access to the resources and the expertise to develop this really advanced AI, that creates this huge power imbalance.
It does.
And, that could lead to all sorts of problems, from economic exploitation to political instability,
Absolutely. The report actually talks about this emerging R&D divide, where the benefits of AI aren't evenly distributed. And that really does raise these serious questions about, fairness, access, and who ultimately gets to shape the future of this technology.
And then, you've got the environmental impact to think about, too. Training these massive AI models takes a huge amount of energy, which obviously contributes to carbon emissions, climate change.
Definitely.
The report mentions that Meta estimated that training their Llama 3 AI models generated over 11,000 tons of CO2 emissions. That's like the carbon footprint of a small town.
It is. And, that's just the training phase.
Right.
The report points out that the energy demand for just the everyday use of AI is likely to actually surpass the demand for training. So think about all the AI-powered devices and services that are, everywhere in our lives now. We're talking about a pretty significant and growing energy footprint that we really need to figure out how to deal with.
Okay, so we've got this incredible technology, right, with the potential to completely revolutionize, countless aspects of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But it also comes with, this whole set of risks, immediate risks, and then, risks further down the line. So what do we do about it? How do we make sure we're using AI responsibly, ethically?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
It really is.
And the report, it offers some potential answers, some pathways forward.
Mm-hmm.
One of the key takeaways, I think, is that we need to shift our mindset from a reactive approach, a more proactive approach. It's not enough to just wait for problems to emerge and then try to fix them, right? We need to anticipate the potential risks and build safeguards into the development process from the very beginning.
So it's like preventative medicine for AI. We need to make sure it's healthy from the start rather than trying to, cure it after it's already sick.
Exactly. And one of the ways we can do that is by adopting this defense in-depth strategy. It's a concept borrowed from fields like cybersecurity and nuclear safety. It's about creating multiple layers of protection so that if one layer fails, there are others in place to prevent or mitigate harm.
Okay, so I'm starting to get the picture here. It's like we're building this fortress around AI with multiple walls, moats, guard towers, a whole 9 yards.
It's a good image.
Keep the bad stuff out, the good stuff in.
Yeah.
But what do those layers actually look like?
Well, it's a combination of technical solutions, governance mechanisms, and ethical considerations. On the technical side, you've got things like rigorous testing, where you're evaluating AI systems under a wide range of conditions to try to identify those vulnerabilities, right? And then there's red teaming, where you have dedicated teams that are actually trying to break the AI, essentially probing for weaknesses to try to make it more robust.
So it's like this constant, game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
With the good guys trying to stay one step ahead of the bad guys.
That's a good way to put it. It's a constant arms race, in a way.
But it sounds like it's not just about technical fixes.
No, you're right. It's also about creating the right governance structures to make sure that AI is developed and deployed responsibly. And this could include things like international agreements, industry standards, government regulations, that kind of thing.
So it's like setting up the rules of the road for AI. Make sure everyone's playing by the same rule.
Right.
And there are consequences if you don't.
Exactly. And then you also have that ethical dimension, which is so crucial. We need to make sure that AI aligns with our values, with our principles, and that it's used to promote human flourishing, not to exploit or undermine it. And this means really thinking carefully about things like bias, fairness, transparency, and accountability.
So it's not just about building smart machines.
No.
It's about building machines that are smart and good.
Exactly.
Machines that are making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Not a worse one.
That's a great way to put it. And the report makes it very clear that this is a journey that, we're all on together. It's not just up to the tech companies or the governments to figure this out.
Right.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Okay, so we're all responsible for making sure that, AI doesn't turn into some dystopian nightmare.
It takes a village.
But that's a lot of pressure. I mean, where do we even begin?
Well, I think one of the most important things we can do is to stay informed.
Yeah.
Reports like this one are a great resource for learning about the latest developments. What are the potential risks? And what are the strategies for mitigating those risks? And then we need to engage in these conversations. Talk to your friends, your family, your colleagues about these issues. The more people who are aware of the challenges and opportunities that AI presents, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this, this very complex landscape.
So we need to be having these conversations not just at the dinner table, but also in our schools, in our workplaces.
Absolutely.
In our political institutions. I mean,
everywhere.
It's got to be everywhere.
Yeah, AI is not just a technical issue. It's a societal issue.
Right.
And it's going to touch every aspect of our lives in the years to come. So the more we talk about it, the more we debate it, the more we think critically about it, the better prepared we'll be to really make sure AI is a force for good in the world.
That's a really important point, and it's something that, I think we often forget. This isn't something we can just, leave to the experts to figure out. We all need to be involved in shaping the future of AI, but it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the complexity of it all. AI is already transforming the world at this pace that's hard to keep up with.
It is, and it's understandable to feel that way, but it's also incredibly exciting. We're living through a technological revolution that has the potential to, reshape our world in profound ways. And we actually have the opportunity to be a part of that transformation.
It's incredible when you think about all the ways AI is already kind of woven into our lives, even if we don't always see it. It's like this invisible force shaping the world around us.
It really is.
And this report really shines a light on that.
It does, and it brings it to the forefront. As you said, this report isn't just about some, far-off future. This is about the here and now.
Right.
We're already facing, these critical decisions about how we develop and use AI.
Yeah.
And these decisions are going to have a huge impact down the road.
We've covered so much in this deep dive. From just the basic how does AI work to like all of this mind-boggling potential it has. And of course, those risks, we can't forget about those.
Absolutely.
So as we kind of wrap things up here, what are some of the key takeaways, things you think the listener should really hold on to?
I think one of the biggest takeaways, at least for me, is just that AI is a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got this incredible power to do good, to solve these problems, that have been around for centuries.
Yeah.
But that same power can be misused, and we're already seeing that happening.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the potential for AI to be used in cyberattacks to create these like super convincing disinformation campaigns. I mean, even the possibility of it being used, to develop bioweapons.
Yeah.
It's a little scary, to think about.
Yeah. It is. It is. And the report makes it clear that we can't just sit back and, hope everything turns out okay. We need to be proactive. We need to be vigilant. And I think most importantly, we need to work together to manage these risks.
The report outlines this multi-layered approach to risk management.
Yes.
They call it this defense in depth strategy, it sounds like. It's about building safeguards at every stage, from the initial design to, when it's finally released.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that there's no, one-size-fits-all solution here. There's no silver bullet.
Right.
That's going to solve all the problems. We need a combination of technical solutions, governance mechanisms, and a strong ethical framework to guide our actions.
It's like we're building a house, where you need to make sure the foundation is solid, the walls are strong, and we have a good roof to protect us from the storms. We can't just focus on one thing and neglect everything else.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of, collaborating. We need experts from all these different fields working together. Computer scientists, ethicists, policymakers, social scientists.
Wow.
All of them, to make sure that we're really considering everything.
And this isn't just a job for, the experts, is it?
No, not at all.
We all have a role to play in, shaping the future of AI.
This is a societal issue. It's not just a technological one. The choices that we make about AI, they're going to have a profound impact on our lives, on our communities, and on the world.
So what can our listener do? Where do they even start? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this.
Well, I think one of the most important things is to just stay informed.
Yeah.
Read reports like this one. Discuss them. Share them with your friends and your family. The more people who are aware of these issues, the better prepared we'll all be to make these decisions.
And don't be afraid to, ask questions. If something doesn't make sense, or if you're worried about, a particular way AI is being used, speak up.
Yes.
We need to have these open and honest conversations.
We do. And remember, your voice matters. So talk to your elected officials, engage with the companies that are developing AI, participate in these public forums and debates. I mean, the future of AI, it isn't predetermined.
Right.
This is something we're all creating together.
That's a really good point. It's not about being a passive bystander. It's about actively shaping the world we want to live in.
Exactly.
And AI is going to be a huge part of that world, whether we like it or not.
It will be. And it's really up to us to decide what kind of role it plays. Do we want AI to be a force for good? Helping us solve those big challenges and create a more just and fair world? Or do we want it to, just make existing problems worse, take away our privacy, and potentially even threaten, our safety and security?
I mean, those are some pretty big choices.
Yeah.
It makes this whole conversation feel a lot more, urgent.
It does. The decisions that we're making today, they're going to have a big impact on, the future of AI. And those decisions shouldn't be made in a vacuum. They need to be made through open dialogue, through careful consideration, and with, participation from as many people as possible.
So I guess this deep dive into the International AI Safety Report 2025, it's really just the beginning. It's the spark that starts a much bigger conversation about the future we want.
That's a great way to put it. I encourage everyone listening to keep digging into these issues, read the report, and join the conversation. The future of AI really is in our hands.
That's a good note to end on. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. I hope you found it insightful.
It's been a pleasure being here. And remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a topic that's shaping our world. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.